Hey everyone, welcome back to Somonul Art. In today's video, we're continuing our Project White Base series by painting the engine housing and the wings using Substance Painter. Oh boy, this project sure is starting to shape up, so let's get started on this one. So here we are in Substance Painter now. Oh, look at these beautiful parts. I've already gone through and baked all my textures out. I've got here the ambient occlusion, just to show off all the details that have been modeled into this thing. We'll go ahead and change that over to material. And as you can tell, I've already got the basic colors already put in, so that way that'll save a little bit of time on this video. If you want to see how I do that, I have a bunch of other videos that kind of go through all the steps for that, and it just seemed like an extra step for this video. And we've got quite a bit of ground to cover, so let's get started on adding some details to this. I'm going to turn off most of these layers because I don't need blue and I don't need red, and most of these are going to be white, at least for what we're working on right now. And we're going to be working on this big unit right here, which should be the engine housing. Yep, that's correct. Beautiful. So the first thing I want to do is take a look at this. What have we got going on here? I've got a couple windows here, although they could be panels, but in this version I'm going to make some windows out of all this. It's going to add a little bit of character to it, especially in those dark lit scenes. We've got some ventilation over here. This is actually going to be blue. That looks pretty good. So we're definitely going to need to create texture set settings, an emissive layer. So we'll turn that on. We'll hit that little plus button there. Click emissive, and now we've got an emissive layer for this. But we'll worry about that last when we add the lights. Yeah, let's see here. Let's go ahead and add ourselves a couple layers. And we'll call this one dirt. We'll come back to that guy. We're going to just use a very high roughness for this. A little bit into this orange level here, and just kind of dull that out a bit. That looks good. We'll give it a white mask, and we'll come back to that when we decide to add the generator to it. The next thing I want to do is we're going to add a preset layer. I'm going to add my favorite steel stained right here. We'll create that. Just going to add a little bit of scuffing and some grunging onto it. But I'm actually going to duplicate that because there's a couple parts in here that I'm going to want to use. It's going to stay metallic. And you can see it's not super shiny. I've got this roughness layer right here that just really dulls it down. Because I'm importing this into the Unreal Engine, I don't want it to be too, I don't want that chrome ball effect. So I've got that channel, that's why I have it at the very top. It's going to kind of dull out everything and make things look hopefully good. So for this, we're going to add a white mask. And you can see I've got some decals already imported in here. I don't need that right now. Edge damage. This might actually be what I'm looking for here. So let's go ahead and give this a try. If it doesn't work out, we can always remove it. And I don't see anything, but that's because I've got that guy turned on. And, well, that looks pretty good, except for this is a massive starship. It's like an aircraft carrier in space. So these dents are just like not in scale, so we're gonna have to address that. Let's hope that we actually can, because sometimes the scale on these textures is just a little bit weird. We can bring out some extra grunge. That looks, man, that looks cool, but that's not what I'm looking for, unfortunately. We'll dial back some of this curvature. And that looks kind of cool, but I think it's still a little bit too much. I don't want it to be too crazy. Global contrast attributes. There's nothing about thickness. What does that do? Definitely don't need that. Let's just dial this curvature back a bit more. I'm trying to get rid of, I guess I could have done it with a mask. I hate to use that many masks. Alright, that's what we'll do. Let's dial that back a bit, because that does look pretty cool. And if we get rid of that roughness, that should really make that pop. So let's go ahead and group this to itself. And we'll go ahead and create a white mask to it. And we're going to label this metal damage, because when we start to import it into our other layers, we're going to want to remember what that is. We're definitely going to want to turn, make sure that's on black. And we're just going to knock that all out. I don't need that, don't need that. Let's get rid of this. That looks it's terrible right there. That looks okay. That's kind of a big blemish. Don't need that. Oh, here we are. I knew I saw something that I didn't like. Let's take that out. This is a little bit overwhelming here. And then we got this overwhelming business right there. So, as you can see, I just have some very minor imperfections. I'm not going to worry about that because we're actually going to turn those to be that metallic color. Could probably do that now. Overall, I think that looks beautiful. So we'll turn our stained steel back on, and we'll give this a black mask. We'll go over to my polyfill tool, and I'm going to click Object to make this easy, and hope this all works out. And just select each one of these vents right in here. That looks pretty cool. Now I wish when I had done these UVs that I could just click that and it would be really good, but unfortunately it is not going to be that easy. But we should be able to go in here to our just faces and select these. Unfortunately there's no real easy way to do this, but I want this inside core to be metallic. We're going to leave the rest of it blue on the outside, but I definitely want this inside. I don't have any easy way to really do this. Maybe if I zoom in through this way. Probably going to create a bigger mess for me than what it's worth. We'll just go with it. The trouble I'm thinking about is this back paneling here. Is, wow, that's going to work. It is just, it's not going to work. Maybe if I select like this, get these corners just to try and make it a little easier on myself. Because selecting these in the back is going to be kind of a pain otherwise. Now we'll just go to the front view and see how that looks. I know I've got a couple that I've probably missed, but make sure nothing else got hit down by that. So we've got a couple of faces there. 1, 2, right there. Okay, so that right down there is being stubborn, very stubborn. See if we can't just select it like this. And how does that look? Alright, there's our first vent right there. Let's make sure nothing else crazy is going on. That looks pretty cool. Oh, we just got to do the same with this mess here. So we'll go back to the tool I was using. Let's just start from the back here. We'll work our way up this time. Make it a little bit of fun. And if we select our angles very carefully, we may not have to do too much this time. Alright, let's see what we got going on here. Did I get everything? Looks like I got everything. But we've got this nightmare going on right here, so let's go ahead and just undo that. Uh-oh, look at that little guy. He decided to sneak by us. There we go, that looks cool. Huh. Look at that. I don't even know how that guy got selected way over there. That's... Nope, stranger things, right? Okay. So that's looking really beautiful. Well, let's go ahead and close that. And let's go ahead and make another metal layer here, stainless. I don't know why I always call it stainless. Stained steel, the opposite of stainless. We'll create a white mask for that there. Go ahead and create a generator. And we're going to add metal edges. I just want to see how this looks. Because there's some parts here I think we could maybe, I don't know. It's probably going to end up turning this layer off. But I wanted to add a little bit of some interesting stuff going on here. Grunge amount. That looks cool, but I don't know, that might be just a little bit too extreme. Curvature, weight. Let's just back that out a little bit. Let's turn it off and see what we've got going on. So that's added quite a bit of new material, which looks kind of cool. Definitely does. But I'm not a big fan of it. So we're going to go here, create a black mask, and I wanted it just to be around these vents here. Material. Make sure I've got that selected, and we'll go here. Ooh. Let me just dial it down the opacity a bit. And then give these grills in here just a little bit. And I must have missed that on the original mask, so we're going to have to go back and address that real quick. Metal damage. That's too much for my taste. Knocked it out. We'll leave that one there. That's kind of cool. Nothing like a big damage mark right there. But again, I'm not looking for anything that's just too overwhelming. I want it to be a little bit characteristic. Each little dent and scrape has its own unique, beautiful story. That looks good. Alright. I like that. Let's make sure we label this detailed damage. And then we'll close that out. There's one more thing. Dirt 2, we'll call it. And this is just going to be a color map. We're going to give it a really vibrant blue color here. And we'll just go up to create a white mask. And edges dirty. Oh, that's not what I'm looking for. We'll try this edges dusty for now. Let's see what happens with this guy. Drag that in there. And now we've got this crazy business going on here. We may actually have to change that color. I can barely tell it's blue. The idea of picking that color was supposed to be able to see it better. We'll go with just some kind of a red. So that must be really weak. Let's back that out a bit. What do these values do? we'll have that as our base. And what I'm going to do, oh good, I still have my blue color selected. I'm going to make it a little bit darker than the color that I've got. Don't want to go too crazy though. I'm actually going to change into my base color so that way I can kind of see what's going on. So I just want it to be a little bit darker just to accent those beautiful shapes that we've got on this project. There we go. That looks good. So we're almost done with the engine housing here. All we've got to do now is turn our blue on and give it a black mask. Uh-oh, you can see that coloration thing. We're going to have to do a layer for that as well. Black mask. Go to our polyfill tool here. And I don't think I can use this because it's not a separate... Oh, it is. Cool. Well, never mind, guys. That made short work of that. You can see our stainless steel, or our stained steel. Oh my goodness, our stained steel. It is holding up really nice in there. And that just looks awesome. But we've got to address this little issue that we had when we created our dirt. So let's go ahead and duplicate this. We'll call this one dirt white. Dirt color. The only reason I'm doing dirt color is because later on I have a dirt red that I'm going to have to make, and I just might as well just change it out that way. So let's go ahead and go into base color mode, and we'll select that blue there. Disable that. We're going to have to mask that out because I just want to see what's going on with this. And then we'll add just a little bit of subtle bluing to that, just like that. Beautiful. So for this, so if I group it to itself, everything looks good. Let's go ahead and give it a black mask so it totally disappears. That's good. We're in the correct tool, and we'll just drop it there. Okay, that worked that time. That was weird. That was actually very weird. So now, turn on our dirt white, and we got to do the same thing. So we got to group that to itself. But so we don't forget, dirt, group, color, and then dirt, white, GRP. And then we'll add a white mask to that. And for this, we're going to want to disable this, just like so. I don't think that needed it. Let's see what we got here. How does this mask look? Just to be on the safe side, we got that all blacked out. Alright, I think that did it. Let's hope. Let's turn the material back on. Alright, that looks beautiful. So we got a bunch of stuff. We can finally go up to our dirt layer and turn this beautiful thing on. We're going to create a white mask for that. We already had that, didn't we? Yeah, we did. Maybe we didn't. I don't know. I got so much going on, guys. This is crazy. I think I'm losing my mind here. Let's go ahead and create some dirt generator for this. And wow, man, that is just nuts. The defaults are always crazy. So the goal here is just to get some of these beautiful details accented in here. We've definitely clogged this down so we can't really tell what's going on in there. That's nice. We'll make our grunge scale a little bit higher. And I don't want to see like this little smattering and stuff. The goal is to try and get rid of that. Once we drop that down enough. But then we don't want to lose the beautiful coloring on the inside here. So we'll bring some of that back. How much can we get away with? 0.5. Maybe that's too much. We'll go with 0.4. Yeah, that looks good. You know what, guys? We have not saved them all, so hit Control C there and let it do its thing. I'm working with 10 different objects here, so that's 10 times 4K texture. That's just a recipe for disaster in itself. This is looking good. All right, all we got to do now is add one final layer here, and we'll call this lights. We just want a color, and we want an emissive color for this one. So we'll go here and look for our yellow that we're going to be using. Yeah, that's a nasty yellow right there. See if we can get by with this. We'll lower it just a little bit. And then we gotta add a black mask. And we'll just add some details into here. Whoa. Looks like I'm in the wrong one for that. There we go. Make sure I'm on the face select. Add some windows in here. And a few, what did I just click? Something didn't. Add some on the back side here. There we go. Oh, stubborn polys. There we go. How does that look? I think that'll do it for that. That looks pretty good. Let's go back to our lights though and add a few more details to it. I actually remembered I wanted to add roughness to this because it is a window. And it's alright if it's really glossy in this. Let's zoom in a bit and see if that even looks like it's remotely working. Yeah, I can see a little bit of a reflection in there. Go ahead and check my roughness map. That's blacked out. These colors don't look too crazy. Beautiful. And we just gotta crank this thing up, but we gotta switch back to my material level here. And there we go. We got our emissive lights turned on. And we can always turn them off if they look a little bit overwhelming, but that looks cool. Alright, beautiful. So all we got to do now is select everything that we've made. All the real grunt work is out now, and this should make things a lot easier. Let's scroll this down here a little bit. Left engines, what do we got here? So that's actually going to be a metal plate. That'll be a separate beast in itself. Let's see, where are those wings? Engine covering, we can work on this one. This will be a fun one. We'll just paste all those layers into here. Give it a second to calculate. We don't need our blue layer on. We can turn dirt color off. No, actually we can't. So we got to turn this guy on. We'll go in here to our material base color. And this whole housing is going to be red, so we've got to change this to a red value. Let's drag that color there. We'll drop that down a little bit. We don't need that. Because that's all black. Invert this mask. And we'll make this just a little bit darker. Really breathe some of that edge details in there. That looks cool. Beautiful. Now we gotta scroll up or down or wherever we left it. It's a good thing we label these things, guys. So that's black steel stained layer right here. And now we just got to breathe some life into these vents. We could leave them red, but we're not. We're going to go in here and just make these this color. If I go in here and select these and try and zoom out, wow, I don't know what happened there. I'm not going to worry too much because we have that dirt map that kind of looks like it blurs everything out, so we can't see too far in there, which is okay. But we want to add some of these back. And we're going to address whatever this scuffing is. That's a little bit too much for my... I think it's when we transferred it over. For some reason the masks always default and reset themselves, which is probably a good thing. So you don't want to forget what you're doing. So it looks like it's this metal damage. And we'll go ahead and just get rid of it. I could probably turn the layer off, but I do like a little bit of some of this in here. But not all of it. Like this. An object that hit that probably would have blew up the whole white base. To put on some denting of that size. Alright, nothing too much, nothing too crazy. Looks cool. Now we got to do a new fill layer. We'll call this dark metal. We'll give this a blue hue, and we're going to go not too crazy dark with it, but probably about that dark. And pump this up to about 0.8 and 0.5, 0.61 actually. Let's see what we're looking at here. So we've got this super cool, beautiful metal, and let's lower this just a bit. I can't. I can't do that. We're gonna have to do a little improvising then. So we need to bring our dirt layer back. But now we've lost our beautiful dark metal. So we'll give this a mask. Give it a white mask. Go to our polyfill tool here and just, I don't think, because if I do that it's going to change the whole thing. There we go. Dark metal. Give that a black mask. And now we will turn that whole section on. Let's turn this nonsense up so we can see what we've got going on here. It's interesting. Let's play around with that color just a little bit more. Dark metal. That looks a little bit better. Alright. And what we're going to do is add one more aluminum node right here. Make sure that is above my dark metal, and it is. We'll give it a white mask. We'll give it a generator. Generator edge metal details. And that looks cool. But let's use it to breathe in some life to this. Kind of subdue it a little bit there. There we go. You can see, for some reason, the higher you go up in scale, you get this repeating pattern just like crazy. So we'll go ahead and duplicate that. Grunge, metal, group. And we'll give this a black mask, and we'll go ahead and bring it back. Make sure on the white. And there we are. That should do it for our engine for now. This engine, you're not going to see too much of it because it actually gets plugged right into this. So that's why I'm not worried too much about the detailing on it. At least not yet. I think that looks pretty good. But the inside does not look good. We are so lost in there. Let's see here. Dirt. Let's group that. I've always got to group these things in this. It gets pretty crazy. Add white mask, dirt, group to let it know it's inside of a group. Select the mask. We're white, so we do want to be, okay, somewhere in the middle here. Let's go 50 and see how this looks. Again, you're not even going to see this thing because of the housing. But I don't want it to be like just something totally black. Now I feel like we need to go back in here and address, oh boy, what we've got going on with that metal. I don't think it's in this one. That was the old one we made. There should be another dark metal. Nope, it's not you either, my friend. I think it was this guy here. Yep. Oh boy, to do this is not going to be easy. So that's going to select the whole thing. This is going to select the whole inside. Hey, that actually might be what I want. Yeah. That's cool. All right, well that saved us a lot of trouble. Let's go ahead and save and move on to the next part real quick. And that's it for the painting of the engine housing and wings. I hope you found this tutorial helpful and picked up some new techniques. We ran into a few snags and a few complications, and oh boy, all that matters is we were able to address those and figure it out, and we sure had a lot of fun along the way. If you have any questions, leave a comment below. I'd love to hear from you. And don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and a subscribe to Somonul Art for more tutorials and project updates. Your support means a lot to me, guys, and I can't thank you enough. Alright, my friends, thanks so much for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode in our Project White Base series. Keep creating and have fun with your art, my friends.